So a lot of folks know I'm not on good terms with my dad, right? A lot of you know I was raised in a conservative Christian household. A lot of you guys get that. I've talked about it on stream quite a bit. A little bit before stream, I got a call from him, and I picked up because he's been trying to do better, you know. And I've always wanted to, I love him. He's my dad, you know. And one of the things I told him when I came out was that I would always have a bridge. I would always meet him halfway across the bridge if he couldn't come to my side. If he couldn't make it over to fully accept me as like a trans person, I'd meet him halfway. So I've always tried to leave that open for him. And he he called and we actually had a normal conversation. He didn't misgender me. That was actually really nice. And I was feeling good about it. We talked about like my nephews and my brother, his family, and it was nice. It felt like a normal conversation. He just bought my mom like a small piano, not like a not like a grand piano or anything like that, just like a small piano for her for Christmas. He was just
No
setting it
need
up.
to apologize. I feel the same rage.
It's all good, one eyed heathen. We good. We good. And he wanted to know if I was going to come by and pick up anything or, you know, what he would do about it. And, we had a back and forth. We talked about like his medical issues and like, he talked about how he's going to get like psychotherapy and like, that's great. Good for him. Working on himself, trying to pull himself out of that depression pit he's dug for himself. And, yeah, I was feeling pretty good. And like I know things have been hard for my mom and my dad, medical wise. So, I'm gearing up to offer to make him like dinner because I like cooking and I often cook more food than I can eat or my partner can eat. And I was just like, if I was gonna say, if anything gets too much, like I can make you guys like some good food. I'm pretty good at it. As I mentioned the other day, my partner uh said that my Cuban beans were the best she's ever had, and she's had a lot of beans made by a lot of really great cooks, and she was very surprised that I was white and could do that. Um, but then my dad started to talk about how he was worried about me, um, because he was worried about uh, the cult I'd fallen into. I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" And he started talking about how uh, tr- transness is a cult, and he's really worried about me and how I'm doing, psychologically and physically, because he thinks HRT is some kind of cult indoctrination thing. And he's really worried about the crowd that I've fallen in with, and that I need to draw upon my Christian upbringing and act upon my duty to proselytize to my partner and her family. Um, and yeah, I suddenly realized that this conversation was not an indicator that he was in a better spot and was more accepting or changing his ways. Um, and he also didn't realize that my partner is gay. I For those of you who don't know, my partner's a lesbian. She only dates ladies. He thought it he thought this was some last ditch effort to be like a heterosexual. And he had the fucking audacity to accuse my partner's family of being members of this cult for the crime of accepting me. The sin, I should say, I guess. And you know, I had to like stop and was like he's starting to talk about how like, well, all the transgenders are, the exploding in society, and it's really a sign that it's a cult. And I was like, well, Dad, do you remember when you were a kid, like what they did to left-handed people in school? He was like, no. Like, well, they would beat left-handed kids until they stopped being left-handed. It's like, oh, I never heard of, I never knew about that. It's like it was a very common practice. And once they stopped beating left-handed kids, suddenly there's a lot more left-handed people. Similar principle. But he did not want to listen to that. Um and instead just was like, "Well, it's just my belief." I'm like, "But Dad, my partner and I have been together for over 3 years. We're talking about getting married. And like I I can't I can't invite you to the wedding, you know? Like you can't come because you can't treat me with respect or dignity because you choose that belief and you choose to verbalize it this way, you know? Like, I'm not even asking you to change your belief system or anything like that. I'm just asking you to be able to treat me with respect. It's like, well, I think I treat you with respect. I'm like, but you don't. That's the issue. Like my partner's family, I hang out with them all the time. I see my partner's mom, I see my partner's dad, I see my partner's brother and the sister-in-law. We play D&D together. And I know for a fact that every single one of those people would throw down to keep me safe. And I know for a fact her mom would throw hands. I know for a fact that if they saw me get disrespected in front of them, they would fight for me.
I want you to know that it is because of you that I sat on my DSA executive committee meeting as a member tonight. Because of you, I love you, my friend. You deserve so much better. I am so sorry.
I appreciate that, Lady Raincloud. And I really admire the work you're doing. I think it's really good work. And I'm really proud of you. Genuinely, my friend. Thank you for the $10 dono. I appreciate that as well. And I tried to explain that like I like also my partner's family, a lot of them are LGBTQ or some flavor of queer. And like that's cool. That's good. But I can't have a man who's going to disrespect me at that wedding or at any kind of event, because by extension, he's going to disrespect like everyone else there. Everyone else.
You have no idea how similar we are. Last week, My mother called and told me something like that we are going through the galactic ecliptic, indeed that is what is making the Earth hotter, and that is the sane washed summary.
Oh, Jesus, one-eyed heathen. I'm really sorry to hear that. Thank you for the $20 super chat. I really, really appreciate that. And I just I tried to explain it to him, and like he just kept doubling down on like, well, this is my belief. This is my belief. It's just what I believe. But like it's fine because I don't vote for Trump, but this is just what I believe. And I'm like, Dad, in order to believe that this is a cult, you have to disregard the entire scientific consensus about people like me. He's like, "Well, I'm just worried about, I'm worried about you with everything in this country." And it's like, "Well, if you're actually worried about me in this country, then you need to fight this country and not me." You know? Like, I don't know. If you're a parent, you change heaven and earth for your kid. What did he say? He's just like, "Well, I just believe it though. I just believe it." And like I had to explain to him that like how he treats me is not okay. Lady Raincloud, yes, I finally lost it. Because I told him when I came out to him, I will always meet you halfway on that bridge. And he responded to me at the time and ever since that he would never meet me halfway on that bridge. Never. And I reminded him of that. And I reminded him that his decision and his actions have effectively exiled him from my life. These are not choices I make. I just have too much self-respect to actually put up with that shit anymore. I've actually grown some level of, you know, self-worth where I'm not just gonna passively listen to that. And, I reminded him, like, "Dad, you're the person who told me when I was growing up, like, you tolerate LGBTQ people, but you never accept them. You never accept them. That's that's a problem. Like you can't just tolerate me as your child. Can't just tolerate my partner who is a lesbian. That's not an okay thing to do." Was that even tolerance though? No, of course not. Of course not. And then he just tried to double down and talk about his, religious view on the matter. And it's like, well, I'm not getting through. I've been as clear as I possibly can be. And I hung up the phone. And then I texted my mom that if, you know, I'm never answering a phone from him again. If he would like to get in contact with me, he can call my partner. And she will determine whether or not he gets to talk to me.
Nothing but hugs.
Thanks, Charlie Jinmir. I appreciate it. And I never want her to contact me about Father's Day, about taking care of him after the hospital, about birthdays. Don't want that. I can't have someone who thinks that not just me is in a cult, but my entire partner's family is in a cult because they accept me for being trans. I'm not doing that. Not now and not ever. And it's a lot easier for me, I think, to take that kind of language when it's just me. You know, when it's just directed towards me. But when it's to my partner, when it's to the people who I know would do everything in their power to keep me safe, people who have shown me love and respect and for years now, no,
Just
no,
sending hugs.
no more. No more of that. No.
Listening to you feels like peering into my future. Incredibly conservative family, just starting social transitioning with some of the very few that have my back. And have it all the way. Stay strong.
And I will, Alora, in office. I feel a lot stronger on this than I used to be. You know? It's like a muscle I've flexed a lot. But it it hurts. And in that hurt, I just have so much fucking anger. And on top of it, we have all of the news happening today. So I'm so fucking angry, guys. And I do apologize, folks. Um Anyone who might have gotten hit by shrapnel from my rage, I do apologize, but like I was trying to figure out and trying to make clear throughout today's stream, like I'm at my limit, guys. I'm at my limit. And I don't know how to make it that much more productive than to look at a Bernie Sanders rally, you know? I don't know where to go with it other than solidarity.
The right thing for you doesn't always feel right when you're doing it. I'm so proud of you, and thank you again for everything, heart, bouquet.
Brianna Arabia, thank you very much for the $5 super chat. And yeah, that was definitely a time when I did the right thing, but I felt fucking terrible. And I still do.
I am sorry that has happened to you. I think you are very strong. I had to cut ties with most of my family for how horribly conservative they are. They are Mennonites. Your
Oof.
anger is justified and righteous.
Yeah, Mennonites will do that. Mega do.
You
I
are so
appreciate it.
strong and an amazing person. I am lucky to call you a friend, and anyone who brings you into their life is fortunate to have you and honored to know you. Less than 3.
Thanks, Diego. I appreciate it. Thank you for the $20 dono, and those are gonna make me cry. I've been trying so hard not to.
I'm deeply sorry about your father and what happened tonight. White flag, rainbow.
Me too. You know, like I really thought he was getting better, and I think that's part of what made it
Hey
such a
chat,
gut
Duck
punch.
here. Love you all, but if you do anything silly you will be booped. Just a heads up. Love ya Jack. You are the bestest. Back to the blanket pile I go.
Thanks, Duck. I appreciate it. Might play my favorite killing your dad game, Final Fantasy X tonight in your honor. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. It's it hurts. I always like being the person who does the right thing. I think I did the right thing here. It's just really hard as a child trying to be the bigger person over your parent. That's wild to me. Wild to me. Yeah, one-eyed heathen. I do I do think it is okay, and it helped that I was able to text my mom about it, and she understood. And also, like,
Some of y'all need to learn to read
yeah,
the room. The people who are closest to Jack are telling her to take care of herself all the time. Maybe have your high-minded ideas debate with her later? Thanks.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. Just tonight is not the night to tell me solo actors are the only way while wasting time in my chat not doing anything, I guess. I'm just I'm furious. Brianna Arabia, thank you for being a member. I really appreciate it. And yeah, um my partner and we don't have any date set. Um but sometime in the next few years we've been talking about it, and like, my partner asked if I would want to get married, and we've been talking about it and like looking at venues and stuff, and like, I don't know. It's especially hurtful for my dad to not even have interacted enough with her to know that she's a lesbian. Like, my mom has like gone out to eat with my partner and I, and like has met my partner's family.
This was quite a moving story. Usually my parents are great and I have educated them on LGBT issues. My paternal family unfortunately disrespects my mom constantly.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Super Jet guy. And it's just, I don't know, he's met her twice for like a couple minutes at a time, and both times he's been wildly weird. You know? Like, the first time he met my partner, he had just woken up from a nap and was wearing like his pajamas and just like shuffled out to the garage door to like look at her and say like a gruff hello, and then just stand there silently for a few minutes. And the second time he met her, like, he was also in his pajamas. He shuffled over to the sliding door where like my partner and I were having a conversation with my mom, and then made like a couple weird quips about how I broke their garbage disposal 15 years ago with a penny, which for the record I didn't do. It was just a weird bit he was trying to do that didn't land, and like, those are the two times he's interacted with my partner. That's her complete perception of him, chat. But yeah, they're all living in sin because they accept a trans person in their cult. It makes me so angry. So, just so we're all on the same page, If you ever need a band, not serious? Oh, all right. Yeah. I don't know. I think my mom and I both expected a lot better of him, you know? It's really disappointing. Well, not serious? Ooh. Ooh. Don't wanna invite myself? We'll talk. We'll talk. Once, like, actual plans are in motion, we'll talk. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna play that song tonight, Lady Rain Cloud. Maybe on another time, but, um, I just can't do some of this stuff today. Oh, failsafe, I'm sorry you know that feeling, 'cause it's not good. It doesn't feel good in my heart. Well, Screech, imagine, like, a very, very close friend who, also takes care of you, suddenly, turning their back on you. Alright, now that you guys understand where I'm coming from, I'm gonna do my best not to yell at any more of you. I just thought it was kind of important for you guys to know that I'm really angry about this particular personal part of my life. And I'm also extraordinarily angry that over half of our Congress, voted to throw the elderly, disabled, and the poor into the wood chipper with this budget. I'm really upset about it. And I don't know how to channel that or what to channel that into other than saying, "Hey, go protest. Go get angry. Go get loud in the streets. Go join DSA. Go protest at a Tesla. Go do anything. Even if you're the only person who shows up at that protest, go do it." Was the vote on party lines? The vote was fucky, Amber Brains. It was really, really fucky. They retracted the bill, dismissed everyone present, saying they wouldn't vote on it, and then once all of the Democratic
Longtime
senators
worker
left.
here. Giving you some support. I know how it feels to go through it with your family.
Thanks,
Please
Hero.
treat yourself to something nice soon.
I appreciate that, Hero. Once all of the Democrats left, or most of them were leaving, they reintroduced the bill, the budget, um, and tried to rush through the vote before all of the Democrats could get back. And it didn't wind up making a difference. They just got one of their swing votes to flip, and that was it. That can't be legal. It is unfortunately legal. Could you summarize the budget thing for my simple brain? Yeah. Uh Republicans want to give the richest people to ever exist the biggest tax cut in world history. And in order to do it, there's only one way they can fund that tax cut, and that is by cutting uh, what are called entitlement programs. Entitlement programs include Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security. And in this budget, they cut Medicaid and its associated program SNAP. SNAP is cut by 20%. Medicaid is cut by $880 billion. They're gonna throw like 20 million people off of Medicaid. Oh, did the House Freedom Caucus actually hold out? That's great. So they could only afford to lose one. Sparts fucked everyone. Yeah, great. Yeah, so they're cutting food stamps and they're throwing millions of people off of Medicare or Medicaid. Um, yeah. Wonder how many rural hospitals will close. Probably most of them. Yeah, they're trying to get a total of $2 trillion in this cut. They have a harder time for legal reasons, I think, due to the Byrd rule in Congress. They have a harder time cutting Social Security, but they are basically destroying Medicaid. So I hope that summarizes it. They are killing the disabled, the elderly, and the poor in order to give the richest people to ever exist the biggest tax cut that has ever been. That's what's happening. That's the summarization. How's Medicare? My understanding is that most of what they're targeting is Medicaid, with some spillover into Medicare. You know, your dad truly loves you. Similar situation on the other side here. You know, you can say that, but let me tell you something. That's not a good love. There are people who love their children but still beat them. That's not a good love. There are people who love their wife but will leave her black and blue. That's not a good love. So I would suggest if you're in a similar situation on the other side, fix your goddamn heart and get a better kind of love. Stop putting your love in a kind of like, look what you made me do situation. Because your love, what you call love, that's fucking abuse. That's not love. Or if you want to classify it as love, it is toxic as fuck. It is acidic. And it will burn away the object or person you love until there's nothing left. I went no contact with my dad before I came out for non-related reasons, but I would have done so after coming out as trans either way. He's a raging bigot. He was very abusive, so nothing lost. Yeah. And you know what? My mom loves me with a healthy love. My mom respects my pronouns. My mom is able to hang out with me. My mom, sometimes she slips up, but she does her best. And like, that counts for an awful lot. Refusing to respect someone is not, I don't think that is really a healthy love at all. And you know what? It took her a while to get there, but I got a lot of patience for people who try. Once they run out of government to rob, they're just gonna reach directly into your personal bank accounts. Honestly, yeah. Yeah, chaotic kitten, and, like, she also understands about my dad, like, she gets it. I texted her today and she was like, "Oh, yeah, I totally understand and I get it. I'm really sorry it's come to this." Like, she gets it, and I think she's in a particularly difficult spot, you know?